Hey, hi, ho, and howdy, everybody. My name is Shannon L, and it is another week in the world. And along with another week in the world, that means there's some more news. And with news comes sadness because we live in a world that's just fucking falling apart. Oh my god, why? But you know what isn't falling apart? Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And that is something that we do have this week as all sorts of news. And I love it. We got a new trailer for Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon today, and I am here to talk about it, because it's kinda dope. We've gone a long time without any Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon news, and then they're all just like, you guys want news? You guys been begging for news for months? Well, guess what news? What? Point is, we got news. Anyway, we are going to quickly go over all the new stuff to come in the new trailer and what I think about it, because you care for some reason. You probably don't. You just want to know what it is. Anyway, here we're looking at the Surf's Up trailer, and the first thing that we will notice real quick is that island challenges are back. We will not be doing gyms, or if we are doing gyms, it will be something like a post-story sort of thing. Or maybe it's both. But definitely island challenges are a thing that is going to continue happening, and I think that's really cool. The island trial thing altogether was, I think, a really cool idea. A lot of people like to complain that Pokemon and Game Freak and all of them, they're unoriginal. They got the same thing. It's always following the same formula. And technically, they're not wrong. I do disagree with them when they say that they're lazy or that it's stupid or whatever like that. I personally am one of those people who's all for that formula, but I'm also 100% all for changing it. I love the main series Pokemon games. I have and always will. That being said, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Colosseum change up that formula a lot, and XD is one of my favorite games of all time. And same with Sun and Moon. It's probably my favorite entry in all of Pokemon, or at least in the main series games. I really enjoy it, and I think part of it is due to the fact that they're willing to take a chance and change things up. So I'm really happy that we will be getting the island challenges once again in the game. Because I thought they were real fun, and they were very different, and I thought that was really cool. So we will be having those back. We're going to quickly run through what is to show in the trailer, and I should have taken screenshots, but I didn't, because I'm a stoop. First and foremost, the first thing we get shown in the trailer is a view of what appears to be the Lush Jungle, which, of course, for those of you who played the first games in the series, or in this generation, will know that's Mallow's trial, or at least it was in the previous game. Who knows if they've changed at all. We do know of a new trial that will be taking place, because it was the only trial that we didn't get in the original first game, and everyone was like, hey, I mean, there's a trial, Captain. What's her trial? But anyway, here we have a trial in the Lush Jungle where there are just pseudo-woodos everywhere, so I'm very interested to see how that goes. I wonder if it'll be if it's going to be the same trial, though I suspect it won't be. It'll be a tweaked trial, because in the original trial, for Mallow, you had to acquire ingredients to make a soup, sort of thing. Press A to pound. It's a joke people made all the time, because Mallow's kind of hot. I'm sorry, she's like 10. What's wrong with me? Oh god, Chris, stay away. Anyway, you had to gather ingredients to essentially lure the totem Pokemon, being Totodile, otherwise the fucking destroyer of worlds of Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, or Pokemon Sun and Moon, to come and fight you. It's very interesting. It does seem to be a focus on Pseudo-Wudo in this, so I'm very curious to see how that changes. Or if it changes at all. Who knows? Maybe there could just be Pseudo-Wudos walking around, because they can, and they're like, bitch, what do you want from me? Anyway, next up, I believe it's next up here, let me try actually doing this right. Yes, next up we see a bunch of Charger Bugs and a Togedemaru, probably hinting pretty heavily that this will be somewhere or something to do with Sophocles and his trial. Considering it is talking about the Island Challenge, it probably has something to do with the trial. Not only that, but just a few seconds later we see what appears to be a robotic Vikavolt, rather than just being the Pokemon itself, which of course was the totem Pokemon that you fought in Sophocles' trial. He's got a Terminator Volt, Vikinator. He's got a robot frickin' Vikavolt, and it's cool. Of course, next up we see Acerola, for those of you who don't know, was the Ghost-type trial leader and the third member, well, I guess you could battle him in any order, but I'm going to say third member of the Elite Four. I'm filling in for her her old buddy Nanu. And she's just screaming, "Get out of the door." That's creepy. At least I think it's Acerola. It, in fact, could be someone else. She's just screaming in the picture, so I would assume she's the one yelling it. Very well could be Mimikyu, as Mimikyu was the totem Pokemon in her trial. And that was fucking creepy. Anyway, next up, of course, we get a flashback again to Mallow's trial with the totem Lurantis being all creepy and sneaking up on you. So, assumedly, Lurantis is still going to be the totem Pokemon for Mallow's trial, even if her trial itself is different. And if that's the case, I'm going to assume all of the all of the trials will have the same totem Pokemon, which would mean for Sun it would be Gumshoes, and for Moon it would be Raticate in the first one. And the second trial, I believe, was... who was it? The second trial that you deal with is, I believe, Lana's trial, so Wishy-Washy. Next up would be Kiawe, or Kiave, and his totem, Salazzle. Those two could be flipped. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Lana and then Kiave. And then, of course, last on that island was Mallow, then followed up by Sophocles and Acerola, and then followed up by, was she followed up by anyone? There was another, I don't think there was. I think I might be forgetting a trial. I don't know. My brain is terrible. But anyway, those were the first few. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting one more trial. But we had those as our totem Pokemon, so I'm curious if that means we will be getting that same Pokemon for all of them, which kind of makes sense. It doesn't necessarily make sense for them to change it unless they're adding new Pokemon altogether. I am even trying to think back on Mallow's trial, what other Pokemon could fit for a totem Pokemon, and the only thing I could really think of would be Serena. So anyway, we can assume that we're going to have the same totem Pokemon, even if the trials themselves are going to be different. And next up on the trial docket is, of course, the final trial that we never got in the original Sun and Moon games, which was Mina. Mina and her trial, the Fairy-type trial leader. In Sun and Moon, when you run into her, she just kind of gives you the Fairy Z or whatever and just leaves. She doesn't actually give you a trial, which is interesting. Apparently, she's got a trial this time. Actually, that makes sense to me, because we only ever had 6 trials that we actually did, because Mina was the other trial leader, and then there was another trial which you never talked about, or that we don't know who the leader was, the trial captain, which was the dragon trial at the end of Pony Island. So anyway, yep, we have a new trial, and Mina is taking the forefront. We don't really know what she's gonna be doing, but you are gonna fight her. That's something we know, and that's kind of cool. Next up, we have the information of our 2 old buddies coming back with both Lily and Hao, which of course we talked about in the poster. And it keeps pointing more and more that I think that Lily will be taking on a more active and trainer-esque role in this game. When the first thing she says is, "I want to be strong enough to face any trial." I can't remember if she says that. She might even just say that in their first entry games. She might not, though. I don't know. Also, can we talk real quick? Did the text box change in this game? Because it looks really pretty, and I like it. Anyway, so yep, we get to see Lily once again in her Z-powered outfit, smiling away. And then we have Hao, which I think is really interesting, because number one, you see him in the cemetery, and he's chatting it up, and he just seems really happy. I know you want to win, and I'm going to make sure that happens. Yeah, I'm your buddy. But every time you see Hao, we've seen Hao twice now, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon promotional stuff. And that's in this trailer and, of course, on the poster. And both of those two things, he has just a face of pure upsetness. So I'm very interested to know why he's so mad. I mean, it's Hao. Is the guy who's just smiling and grinning and putting his arms behind his head and is like, "I'm just here, man. How you doing?" But in the promotional poster and here, he's just, look at his face. He wants to kill someone. So I'm very curious to see what that is about. I'm curious if that's just going to mean his attitude is different. Also, it seems, I know you want to win, I'm going to make sure that happens. That doesn't necessarily, I mean, he's your friend, but he's also your rival. He's still battling you the entire time, and he wants to be as good as you, if not better. Whereas, say, Gladion is your rival as well, but it's a very different tone. I don't know. It's very interesting. I'm very interested to see how is going to behave and interact with us in this game, because it seems different, and I'm curious to see why. Next up on the docket is, of course, the information of all the new Pokemon that are going to be appearing in, well, it's not all of them, of course, but hints to tons of new ones that will be coming. Much more Pokemon, all of them make a lot of sense, or at least most of them make a lot of sense. The first one we're shown is Tropius. We're on a tropical island. That makes sense. It also does say that more than 400 Pokemon appear. I can't remember correctly exactly what number of Pokemon we got in the original games. I think it was more like 300, just a little over 300. Do correct me if I'm wrong on that. I will go take a look at it after this. I always say correct me if I'm wrong, and then I just realize I'm just going to look it up afterwards. But anyway, to say we're going to get over 400 Pokemon. At least a couple of them we know will be new. Most of them are going to be old school Pokemon coming to Alola and having a good time. And again, they mostly make sense. Tropius, again, makes total sense. It's a tropical Pokemon. It's a banana tree that is also a flying dinosaur. Pokemon is so weird. Next up, of course, we show Larvesta in one of the caves. So, Volcarona and Larvesta. That's cool. Mareep makes total sense. The pony nursery, or not pony nursery, what's wrong with me? Sorry, I saw pony and I was like, like the animal. The Akala nursery, what is that? I can't remember what the town's called. Whatever. There's a town that's old Western style, and there's a farm, and it's like I'm back in Montana. I never left. And of course, it makes sense. It was one of those things that I always thought there should obviously be Mareep here. I don't know why there's not Mareep here. Well, there's Mareep here now, and it makes sense. Of course, we have Larvitar. That's dope. So, of course, Tyrannotars be running about. We also see Zorua also chilling around in the what looked like to be Howley City. Same place you would find Pokemon like Pikachu and Magneton and Grimer and all them. So that's really cool. Of course, and then it covers a couple examples of exclusives that we will be getting. For example, Pokemon Ultra Sun will have exclusives like Houndoom. I almost said Houndour. I mean, yes, technically that's correct too. And of course, Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon would have something like Manectric. So that's kind of cool. Something I also really want to cover on this. Most of the Pokemon that they showed are all Pokemon with Mega Evolutions. I just thought that was an interesting touch. Of course, not all of them. Tropius doesn't have one. Zorua doesn't have one. And Volcarona doesn't have one, but all of the other ones do. So what I'm telling you is we're getting a Mega Volcarona. No, but I think that would be dope, wouldn't it? Probably be completely unnecessary, but Tropius, give Tropius a Mega. We're not going to get new Megas, unless we do. In which case, if we do, I'm all about it, and I called it, and you saw me do it. Anyway, next up is, of course, talking about the Alola Photo Club, which is something that got shown off a little while ago. It's a Pokemon photo studio. I know a lot of people aren't going to care in the slightest, but I think it's really cool. I think it's fun. I've always, as I said in a previous thing, I'm one of those people who really likes just new fun things to do. That's one of the reasons I like Refresh. I also hate Refresh because it completely makes the game a bit too easy, because stuff will, I don't know, it can be problematic, but I also really like Refresh because I like spending time with my Pokemon. So I think that's something that's really cool and just fun, and some people don't like it, and I'm just like, if you don't like it, just don't do it. Don't hate on it for everyone else, just don't do it. Anyway, so that's the Photo Club. As you can see, there's tons of cool different things that you can do with it. It's dope. But then next up is probably the most weird and interesting and kind of totally radical and awesome bit of news. As I talked about in the previous video or two, I think it was the direct video. It obviously was direct video. We talked about that you could see in one of the clips there was a Mantine which was dressed up like a surf, a Pokeride Pokemon. So the idea was, of course, okay, what is it gonna do? If it is a Pokeride Pokemon, what is it gonna do? What's the purpose? We already have two Pokemon that surf. You have one that surfs around and breaks rocks, which is Sharpedo. You have one that just surfs around just normally, casually, so you can fish and do stuff like that. So the question was, of course, what's the point of a Mantine if you have those other two things? Well, the possibility was, of course, maybe it's a dive Pokemon, which, knowing now that it's not, makes me think if they did want to do a dive Pokemon, they can still do Lantern, and that makes total sense. Make it happen, game. The game's probably damn near already finished. It's probably already done. But point is, like, make it happen. But of course, we do get to see what Mantine is actually for, and it's kind of ridiculous and awesome. Apparently, in this game, a way to travel between all the different islands is you can use Mantine. You can surf on the back of Mantine, literally surfing through waves and doing flips, Tony Hawk Pro Skater style, flipping about, getting points for whatever reason, and being ridiculous and awesome and totally radical. All over between the islands, and you can use that as apparently a travel. Well, I don't know if they mean you can use it as a travel between the islands, or if it's just you're just doing that in the middle of the ocean. Either way, it's cool, and I'm really happy that that's something that we can do now, because I was very confused on what they decided that they were going to do, and in the end, this is what they were going to do. I think it's really cool. It's just another fun, stupid, goofy little thing that you can do. That's what Pokemon is for, doing cool, random, weird, awesome things with fictional, magical creatures. That's what I love about Pokemon. So anyway, that is all the new information. Confirmation the trials are coming back. Mina is coming back with her own trial this time. The I almost said Pokestar Studios. The Alolan Photo Club, there it is. The ride Pokemon Mantine surfing about and being awesome. And of course, the last thing being the abundance of new Pokemon. Of course, we didn't get any information on actually new Pokemon, but we do have information on the new Pokemon in Alola, which is dope. And most of all of them are really cool, and I'm really happy that we can catch them. I can shiny hunt for them all funny like, and then give up 10 minutes into it because I'm like, this is not fun for me. I'm terrible at shiny hunting and sudden goddamn. In any game. Anyway, point is, I will see you guys in the next episode, whenever that happens to be, with any new bit of information that we happen to get on these fantastic, or at least what definitely appears to be pretty awesome games. I'm very excited. I was one of those people who always kind of was like, hey, give it a chance. I know you guys might not always be super into it, but come on, man, give it a chance. I'm really glad I did, because it's looking pretty dope. Looking totally radical. Also, this is a perfect chance for me to use the Mantine Whoa again. Also, be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you think. Things you want to see that this is maybe given you to think about. I don't know what I was trying to say there. What things in this trailer do you see that strike your fancy? What are your theories? What are your hypotheses? Let me know in the comments down below. Because I want to know. I just rhymed no with no. I'm so sorry. I'll see you guys in the next video. Toodles, doodles, lemons. And bye-bye.
Oh, you got a great ass.
I'm a little surprised. Or I'm a bit... No, that works. Synonyms, bitch.
So this is the thanks that we get for giving you our companionship during lunchtime. You selfish bastard. Hey girl, what you doing? Care to give me a hand? My work? Get it? 'Cause